Hello, hello, hello. I believe I'm live. Who is there? Who is watching? Hello, hello there. I can see someone watching now. Welcome to another episode of Sincerely Agile with Mary. We'll just wait for more people to join us. Welcome to Sincerely Agile with Mary. This is the show where we promote the lean, agile mindset in all areas of life and work. It is a platform where we learn, unlearn, and relearn. Because when we know better, we definitely do better. It is a platform that, facilitates a call to action so we can be awesome and wholesome together. So please subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, follow on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you very much for being here. And I can see some comments already. Mobola is here, Runke is here. Nice to see you. Really nice to see you. Thank you for your time, as always. Thank you for your time. And I have with me today Omozua. I'm going to bring her in now. Omozua is here with me today. Hello, Omozua.
Hello, Mary. So good to see you.
Great to see you. Great to have you here. How are you doing?
I am very good, honored, excited about our share today, because it's quite a great topic.
It is an amazing topic. I'm even more excited to have you because obviously I've seen what you're capable of doing. So I am really, really excited to have you.
I'm
So thank
honored.
you for being here. And we'll just let a few more people join. Our topic for today is, are you the CEO of your brain? Interesting topic, isn't it?
It
Are you
is.
the CEO of your brain? Now, Omozua is a high performance brain trainer, neuro agility, and EQ expert. Obviously, EQ meaning emotional quotient expert. So you're in for a treat today. So tag your friends, share the link on your page so that more people can join us and listen to this amazing topic. You want to help us do that? I can see a comment. Hello, Ronke. Yes, help us share this on your, timeline. Tag your friends. This is an amazing topic, and you really want to, create awareness about it so that more people can come and learn and do better. Okay, so Omozua is a high performance brain trainer and neuro agility and EQ expert. So I'll just put the topic up there, and I'm just going to run through her bio so that you know more about Omozua. Now, Omozua Isiramen is a high performance brain trainer, neuro agility EQ expert, and an executive neuro leadership coach. She uses emotional agility and neuroscience based approach to empower and prepare clients' hearts and heads to take the journey from where they are to where they want to be by bravely assessing and optimizing their limitless brain potential. A strategic partner of Neuro in Benelux and Germany, she is the co founder of the Systemic Neuroscience Consulting Group and co creator of the 3 to 5 Brain System Code. She works internationally with busy professionals, entrepreneurs, teams, and organizations to help them transform stress into performance superfuel and drive greatness from within by becoming brain friendly leaders with clarity, confidence, and courage. The mission in her work is to help people, teams, and organizations become future ready today, neuro agile, and build strong emotional intelligence skills for better relationships. I like how you talk about being future ready today. That is powerful, isn't it? That is powerful. So, Omozua, thank you so much for investing time on Sincerely Agile with Mary. Now, Omozua, when we were having the conversation about this show, I said the topic would be the power of the brain.
Yeah.
And then you came back to me and said, how about the question, are you the CEO of your brain? And I thought, wow, that is powerful, extremely powerful. And then, of course, I did some research. I decided to find out if I were to define a brain, what would I find? So I consulted Google as usual. And this was what I found for the definition of the brain. It's the portion of the central nervous system that is located within the skull. It functions as a primary receiver, organizer, and distributor of information for the body. When I saw the word receiver, organizer, and distributor, the topic made a whole lot of sense. It made a whole lot of sense. And then I also found out that the human brain is roughly 3% of our body weight, yet it uses up to 25% of our daily energy. Our daily energy supply, just to keep it running. You haven't even taxed the brain yet. Just to keep it running.
Yeah.
It's using already 25% of our daily energy. Wow, that is a lot. That is a
It
lot. So,
is.
Amazua,
Yes, it is.
you are the expert. What does it mean? What does being the CEO of the brain, what does it mean, Amazua? Please take it away.
So I really like that you brought that point up about how much energy the brain, without actually doing anything, needs to run. And so when it comes to all the things that we do in life, we are always hustling. You know, you're told to be busy, to continuously achieve things, to continuously want to get ahead. That's all beautiful. But I want to come down to that point of what is that core, minute looking item, actually, very minute looking item that is needed to make everything that you're doing in life function. If you want to, like you said, organize, decide, negotiate, relate, connect, discuss, exchange. What is the one organ that we have in our body that drives all of that? And it is that little, I have it in different forms, that little item in our skull, as you said. And many times we don't talk about it, right? People talk about, yes, you've got to do more, you've got to perform, you've got to be productive, but nobody talks about what do we do to take care of that little item that actually makes all that possible. Are we just victims? Do we have no control to decide to optimize ourselves? And neuroscience has come to show us that we do. We can optimize our actions. We can direct our efforts. And actually, given what you just showed about the amount of energy that item, it tires very quickly. So you imagine if you are not directing your mental energy for things that matter. Imagine you're not focusing on the things that are resourceful. You tire out and then you wonder, why is it that day in, day out, I have all these plans, I have all these things that I want to do, but like within, you're quite drained. You are busy focusing on survival. You are not getting any closer to thriving. And isn't that what we all aim for? To thrive. And what helps us to thrive? The one organ that is so intertwined and the source of everything that you can do when you breathe, when you digest, when your body heals, when you're sick and you regenerate. Where does that information come from? And that is what being the CEO of the brain means. It means taking the time to understand, how does the brain serve you? How is the brain wired in such a way that it may even sabotage you if you don't know differently? And today we have that information. Today we know the carrot and stick approach in getting people to be productive might seem the way it was done, and nothing against the way things used to be done. My point is, how are things supposed to be now with the information and the insights that we have? And it shows that a brain that doesn't feel safe will only be as productive as it can be till it starts feeling unsafe again. So it will always fall back into survival mode. And you will
Wow.
never be able to unleash your potential if your brain is actually saying, look, I can't produce right now. I
Wow.
need to survive, right?
Wow. 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 I can see why we're asking that question. Are
Yeah,
you the CEO of your brain?
yeah,
So if you're the CEO of an organization and you're not using the resources of that organization properly,
yeah,
I mean, you're doomed to failure, right? And
absolutely.
that is the mapping I'm doing here. We are the CEO of our brain. And like we already said at the beginning, we're already using 25% of this energy, of our energy. The brain is already using 25% of our energy. So we need to be careful with the remaining 75%, right?
Exactly. Because and we don't really use all the potential of our brain. That's also another thing. We are
Yeah.
using between what, 0.5 and 5%,
Wow.
if at all. That's all. But
Wow.
look at all the potential that is left. And how do you get to that point? How can you increase it, if just by a percent? Imagine what you will be able to achieve, how you will
Wow.
be able to send out a ripple effect that is more in your control than out of your control.
Absolutely. Um, I've got Stella. I've got Stella Da Silva here. Let me just show what she said. She said, I've had amazing chats with Omozua Isiramen on Zoom. She always leaves me with food for thought. Absolutely. She's already doing that here. Now, let me go back to your questions. Now, given what you have just said, I've got another question for you, Omozua. What role does understanding the brain play when it comes to goal setting, changing plans, and realigning with change? And this is particularly important. Important at a time like this with COVID-19.
Yes.
We all know what 2020 was like. Everyone in one form or the other was affected. So
Yes.
there's been a lot of change. We all had goals. Did we actually meet those goals? Probably not. Whether due to our fault or not. I mean, like I said, COVID 2020 hit everybody hard. So we've had to realign. We've had to, adapt to all the changes going on. So
Yeah.
what role does understanding our brain, how does it help us to optimize whatever we have right now?
Yeah. I like that question very much, because I have here, a brain where you can see that in the middle of the brain, right there,
Hmm.
we've got something called the amygdala. The amygdala, I always like to compare it to a chihuahua. I call it my inner mind chihuahua, because I nothing against chihuahuas, but the chihuahuas that I've met, they're always barking at the largest dogs. They always act very powerful. They always see danger and threat. Okay. And so I always tell myself, or what I teach is to understand that if you are consistently focused on danger, threat, which is the function of the amygdala, because that's what keeps us alive. It warns us, don't cross the street, somebody is
Mhm.
crossing. It warns us like, oh look, that looks dangerous, there is a sound, there was just a little bang, okay, hide somewhere safe. So thank God for that. But unfortunately, the same amygdala, the same inner mind chihuahua, does not make a difference between real or unreal. And that is vital to understand. That means if you wake up today and say, I've set a goal and I want to open a business, or I want to send out my CV, or I want to apply for that position because I have the qualification, I can do it. But you don't take into account that you've got the inner mind chihuahua, the amygdala, who does not like change.
Hmm.
It checks very quickly. Do I have that information stored? No. So it must be danger, but it's what you want, isn't it? So we
Yeah.
talk about how do we sabotage ourselves? It's not on purpose, it's subconsciously, right? So the one thing is that the amygdala is telling you danger, 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 but you've got it on your calendar, your 100-day goal for 2021. I want to do this.
Hmm.
So you've got that out there, but your brain has not taken that into account because as far as it's concerned, it doesn't understand what that means. It's like, I don't know that. It's not in my, my data box. So it can only be bad. When you, however, know that your brain can do that, I call mine Diana. I'm like, thank you, Diana, for making me aware of the possible danger. I have got this. I'm the CEO here. Thank you for warning me. I'm going to be cautious, but we're heading on. And that's how you go about your goal. Because you've
Wow.
already played the brain, you've already paid the brain cost, you've already informed the brain by giving it a clear instruction. I have got this. You overcome what is this fear. Because when you let the fear circuit switch on, what do? You start surviving. You start keeping away. So that CV, you keep on telling yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll send it tomorrow. That person that you want to contact, oh, I'm sure the person doesn't have time for me. You start making excuses to justify your inaction.
Wow.
So it's a choice. Be the CEO of your brain. Understand that fear is normal, but don't let it stop you from doing what you want to do. And when you know that, then change won't sound so threatening. How many people have been in a company where they hear there's a new manager coming? And some would say, oh, that's interesting. I heard he or she does amazing things. But somebody else might think, new manager, that can only be bad news. It's the brain that's a brain just protecting you from the perceived danger. And that is where we need to be aware, because that is what stops goal setting or goal achieving, taking actions, facing change positively. And also realigning, just saying, well, look at, I had people who said, look, I only like to meet face to face. But 2020 taught us that if that's all you do, you are going to remain on the track, and the trains, they will come by. But if you don't get on one, you will remain behind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I absolutely love the way you've answered this and how this Diana is a primitive brain, right? All Diana ever sees is danger.
But
Diana
it's
doesn't
not a
see,
bad thing. It's
no,
not a bad
it's not
thing
a bad
because she
thing.
does warn us from some certain things that are
Yeah,
dangerous. But we need to understand also that Diana doesn't make a difference. It's a
yeah,
chemical. If
yeah.
cortisol is being released for her, it is danger. Dot, full stop. And
Wow.
that is it. You just need to know that you might be wanting something, you really want to do it. But if your brain is not releasing good fuel, you'll
And
sabotage.
also, I love the fact that you've given it a name. You've called it
Yeah,
Diana.
yeah,
So I could call my Lizzie. Stella could call hers, Annabelle.
absolutely.
And the good thing about naming that is that I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like naming a problem. You own it,
You own
right?
it.
You
Yeah.
own it. And because you own it, it's a way of overcoming it and checking yourself, catching yourself in the moment, right? You're
Yeah.
able to catch yourself in the moment and say, you know what? No, you're not having me this time. And as you were talking, I was just linking that to imposter syndrome.
Of course.
I link that straight away to imposter syndrome. And that is why we also procrastinate. Amazing, Omozua. Amazing answer there. I hope our audience are getting it. Let's see if there are any questions. Sabotage is a comfort zone, Stella says. Let me bring that up.
Oh yeah.
Sabotage is a comfort zone because it gives me an
Yeah.
excuse not to act.
Yeah, and
And
isn't it? It's quite interesting that she just even mentions comfort zone because I remember back when I had to actually say, "Is my comfort zone? Can I take it literally? Is it really a comfort zone?" My comfort zone changed. I was able to step out of it the moment I realized that my so-called comfort zone was my pain zone.
wow,
Everything that I did not want was in my so-called comfort zone. And
wow.
everything I wanted was outside the comfort zone. So I said, well, something is not correct in that equation. Because if what I want is outside, why on earth am I remaining in my so-called comfort zone?
Absolutely, because Diana wants to keep you there, and you're not going to let Diana do that. And I've got Betty here saying, "Is that the flight or fight mode?
Absolutely. When you enter the
Okay.
survival mode, when the inner amygdala goes danger, think of it like a smoke detector. It's a smoke detector, so it goes on, right?
Yeah.
It could be not that much smoke, but it just goes on, which is good. We want
Mm,
it to do that, right?
mm,
However, if it continues and it doesn't stop, what happens is that the fear circuits are switched on. And
mm,
once the circuits are switched on, you've got the three F's. I always call them, it's either you fight, flight, or you freeze,
yeah.
hoping that somehow the danger will go by till you then do one of the other, right? You flee or you fight. And
Mm,
that is not a state in which you can be productive. You imagine if you've got a team and everybody is in a survival mode, the primitive brain switched on because they don't feel trust. What do we need for trust? We need oxytocin. We need the brain to be releasing oxytocin. But if the brain is releasing cortisol, you can preach what you want. A brain in fear will protect itself by
yeah.
all means possible.
Possible. Wow. And Jonathan here says, good stuff. Go on, give us some more. And she will, because I have another question for her. Now, my next question for you is this, Omozua. How does understanding the workings of the brain contribute to growth, excellence, and success?
That's an amazing question. I always start my year by wondering how you've got all these do this, set your goal, look at what that person is doing, look at what that person is doing. I want to sort of turn it around and say, stop looking at what every other person is doing. You don't know the journey they've traveled. You don't know where they got input from. And we all know not everything that shines is gold. You need to start accurately with what you possess, with what you've come to know about yourself, your growth, what you excel at, what you succeed in doing can only be based on what you bring to the table and what you activate and what you polish. Think of you're like a jewel, like a piece of coal, and then you polish it and polish it, and the more you polish, the more you get a form, and the more you shine, and the more you have impact in yourself. And part of it is just knowing that it's you need you need ingredients for what you want to be. What does that growth look like? Because if that growth looks like Mr. B who has 10 million, well, you're setting up yourself up for failure. You've got expectations that are not based on anything that is connected to you. But when you know that, okay, this is what my brain tends to do, this is how I am wired. Am I more left hemisphere dominant? Am I right hemisphere dominant? So I'm creative. I see things in the big picture. If I'm left brain hemisphere dominant, then that means I like facts, I like numbers. I can work with that. And then when you know I'm more expressive or I'm more somebody who's receptive, you can work with that.
Hmm.
That Susie, Stella says she's naming it Susie. That's a beautiful name. But when you know how am I wired, what are my intelligence preferences? Like, I am not good at numbers. I knew that as a child, and I know how many times I got into trouble because I brought a bad grade home. And back then, nobody would explain to me. I really thought, wow, Oma, you're dumb. You're stupid. You're not intelligent like all those other classmates of yours who go for all those competitions and represent the school. But back then, I went for I think it was the debate competition, and they told me to speak, and I thought, why me? I'm dumb. I can't represent the school. How can I do that? But they gave me the topic, and all I remember was I stood on that stage at school back then in Oshobo, and I was speaking. And I think I had this kind of moment where I left my body and I was like, she is speaking. Then I got back into her and I continued. Back then, I didn't understand it. But today, when I started seeing how am I agile, neuro agile, how does my brain help me be good at what I do? I saw, wow, you're expressive. That's why talking comes easy to you, whereas numbers doesn't, because it's not my preference. It doesn't
Hmm.
mean I don't do numbers. It's not something that warms me up.
Yeah.
And that is Your growth, your excellence, your success boils down, what do you understand about your brain?
Hmm.
If you shout at somebody because you feel a dis-ease within, it's not the person's fault, no matter what that person did, how you think the person provoked you. At the end of the day, you are the CEO of your brain. It's the choice
Absolutely.
you made. Are you
Hmm.
making resourceful choices? Or you're just saying, because I feel a dis-ease, I don't call it disease, it's a dis-ease within. Because when you feel, it's a chemical. But when you understand that it passes after 90 seconds and you can breathe and you can think and you can make a better choice, then you
Hmm.
will be a better leader. It's not because you feel a dis-ease that you shout at your employees. It's not because you feel a dis-ease that you shout at your colleagues. It's not
Hmm.
because you feel a dis-ease. Rather, you rise up above the situation, look at the fact,
Yeah.
feel, add some humanness to that,
Hmm.
and then make a resourceful choice that does not make you feel bad, but also does not make others feel bad. And isn't
Yes.
that how we can create a brain-friendly world?
A brain friendly world, making sure that our engagements with people are resourceful. In other words, having a productive engagement with people. Now, I'm taking quite a few things out of your response, honestly, because you're just going blah 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 blah. Because this is your comfort zone.
It
Well,
fires me.
this
It
is
fires me up,
your
right? It's not
expert
numbers.
zone. Let me call it your expert zone, not your comfort zone. Okay. Now, when you talked about going for that debate and how it felt like you had an out of body experience, that is because that was you. That was Omo right there.
Yeah.
Right. And I think as parents, this is where we really need to be sensitive to our children,
Yes.
knowing that this is what they are good at. I mean, historically, a lot of African parents, I know Asian parents too are like that. You have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be
Yeah.
an engineer. But I think we are slowly moving away from that now. We have become more exposed and we are now more in tune with, this is what my child is good at. So I'm picking that from your response.
Very so
I'm also
important.
picking the fact that we really need to know that, I mean, come on, this brain is in our skull.
It is.
It's our brain, and we can use it, the way we so desire, but we need to be aware of those emotions. That's what I'm picking from this.
Absolutely.
We need to be very, very aware so that we can direct the brain and have a productive engagement.
Yeah.
Somebody talked about hijacking. Let me just bring that up. I think it was
Yeah.
Doddy. Doddy talked about emotional hijacking.
Oh, yes. It's the worst thing, huh?
Yeah, and this is where the chihuahua takes over, right? The
Yeah,
small
it
brain,
takes
the
over.
primitive brain.
You feel something.
Yeah,
You feel an emotion, and most people think that I feel, so it's back to that dis-ease. You feel something and
yeah,
it doesn't feel comfortable, so you react. Now the
yeah.
question is, you see, when you are the CEO of your brain, you make a very informed choice between, am I going to be reactive, which means that your primitive brain has taken over and is in
Mhm.
survival mode, or am I going to respond? We've got something, you can react to it or you can respond. And
Mm.
this emotional hijack is when you feel something and you lash out in whatever form because you felt something. But when you have emotional agility, you understand that feeling an emotion does not mean you should lash out. Rather, it is a message. And the messages are quite clear. It is, ask power questions. What is happening right now that is not aligned with me, that I'm not aligned with? What did someone just say that has caused me to feel this way? And then the third being, what can I do differently? And that's how you respond, full stop.
Wow.
Because if you don't ask yourself those questions, you just want to get rid of it. It's like when a wasp is trying to fly on you, all you want to do is get away from it. I know there are people who
Mm,
say, stay still and then it will go away.
mm.
I'm more
Yeah.
like, when a wasp is on me, I want it off. But when emotions are like, you have to feel that emotion and just name it. How do I feel right now? I think I feel angry. What just happened? Is there something I am doing that is contributing to that? You explore. Is there something that is going on around me that is contributing to that? Then you alter your action. What can I do differently? And that is all you need to do.
Hmm.
And the more you practice it, the more you become emotionally agile and the more
Yeah.
you overcome emotional hijacks.
Yeah. I like the fact that you said explore. So when you get that feeling, you should
Yeah.
go into that exploration mode of naming the emotion so that you can then be resourceful with your response as opposed to reacting. Right?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Omozo. I have another question for you. Um, um, this one here. What is neuroagility and how does it give the 21st century person a competitive advantage in a fast paced world? And this is so important because organizations today are recruiting for cultural fit. Yeah. Some organizations will recruit for cultural fit and they will train you for skills.
Yeah.
These are progressive organizations that have some kind of vision or mission of how they want their culture to be.
Yeah.
So, how we show up as a 21st century employee, it does matter. And that is why I'm asking you this question because a lot of organizations will recruit for cultural fit and train you for skills. Omozua, how would you answer this question, please?
That part of this being a 21st century person, I want to start with that because what does it mean? It means that we are exposed to more information than people back in the, let's just go even 20 years ago. We face more information overload. There's so much stress, there's so many demands. You are expected to be fast, quick, and to be able to do everything. And people are burning out and things are changing. You may put in a lot of effort and you really know about something now, but you do not know if in 2 months it's still valid. That's how fast things are changing. And so if everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, and now some people are completely afraid of it. The point here is that we have a brain and there are a lot of things that our brain can do that emotional intelligence, artificial intelligence, sorry, cannot do. But you need to keep that thing running so that you are able to overcome the one thing. If you have an emotional hijack, you're going to say stop because you want to feel safe. You think you're protecting yourself, but then life is walking, passing you by. So what does neuroagility then mean? It means that today's person has to make sure that she is able to adapt,
Hmm.
adjust, be flexible in any given situation as the things occur. It is your ability to think quickly, learn, process information with ease, with speed. You're supposed to be able to learn new skills quickly, but also unlearn unwanted behavior fast. Be flexible in moving across ideas and understandings in such a way that you are able to maximize the potential learning value of a given experience. Because your agility, your neuro agility is the most sustainable ingredient in a world where organizations and people need to have a competitive advantage so that you don't fall behind.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. And agile, of course, it's be quick, be productive, perform well. Neuro agile means it is actually the point of the departure, because even if you want to be fast, if your brain is not playing along, how far can you get?
Yeah.
And the World Economic Forum clearly states that for the future workplace of the 21st century, you need to have brain power skills and you need to have emotional intelligence skills.
Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
are listed as the 10 top skills that is required. And that's why the one doesn't work without the other.
Hmm.
And to be agile, you need to have your brain on board. Think of a supercomputer. Think of a super Formula One sports car. If I were to drive it, I may not be as efficient because the ingredient of having a brain skill, A driver like can't come up with anybody's name right now, but a Formula One driver knows how far she can push it, how much risk he can take, how to
Mm,
act around the bend when he
mm,
sees another car, how to diverse so that there's no crash. All of this, what is running it? It's the brain. So brain fitness is important.
mm.
Agility is important. Adaptability is important. Your emotional skills, because we need to relate to others. And what
Absolutely.
you are not able to understand about yourself, you will not be able to understand that in any other person.
Mm,
And if you don't understand it in another person, you won't be able to motivate, influence, or support them.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
just want to highlight some of the amazing responses we're getting here. I've got and I've got someone in the education sector saying they're learning a lot. I'm just trying to bring that. Well, Elfrida Balogun says, "Thanks for reminding me that I'm not using my brain enough." I'm happy you've picked up something here. Ben Chackwell says, "Our feelings we associate with anxiety, a fear that we haven't explored or challenged."
Anxiety, that emotion, it is the fear of some not yet. When you have fear, you have anxiety. And anxiety is when you're afraid of something that you think is going to happen in the future, and you dwell on, I'm afraid of it, I'm afraid of it, and you release cortisol. So
Right.
yes, you may be, there may be, there are many unknowns in life. Let's put it that way. There are
Yeah.
many unknowns in life. There are things that are out of our control. But isn't the good thing that we don't need to focus on the things we can't control and rather spend our time on the things we can? How much more would we reduce our anxiety by not worrying about, what if I don't get that job? What if they hate me if I go to that new company? What if I do that? If I ask for that funding, what if my friends start to hate me and then I will become lonely? I won't have friends. Oh my God, what would my family think about me if I want more? Do you see how we ask questions that are unresourceful? And
Hmm.
these unresourceful questions do not have any positive answer. Let's really be honest. There is no positive answer to all those kind of questions. But what if we change the dialogue? What if the question is, well, I guess that some of my friends may not understand why I am going for this $1 million project, but I'm going to do it all the way because I know that I'm going to meet new people. And not all of my friends are going to go away. Some of my friends are just going to like me just the way I am. And my family is my family. And they may not understand me, but I'm their family. So it will be fine. Do you see? Automatically, you change the kind of chemicals that is being released. And this way, you focus on mastery, being able to practice rather than surviving to protect yourself, because protection does not dwell in a place where you are positive, because when you're positive you are optimistic, and when you're optimistic you rise. When
Hmm.
you are pessimistic you are afraid, you become anxious, and it's a chronic downward viral circuit. It just spirals downwards. So you have to choose, do I want to spiral upwards? It doesn't mean there is nothing to be afraid of. It just means good fuel or bad fuel.
Hmm.
Bad fuel means your brain is releasing cortisol, which means that you are in a survival mode. You are only trying to protect yourself. All these kind of coping mechanisms that are unresourceful pop up. Whereas when you have good fuel, you've got dopamine because you feel the
Yeah.
challenge, the good happy hormone. You've got oxytocin, so you trust that what you need to achieve will come your way. Serotonin, and that is motivating. And when you are motivated,
Wow.
you are hopeful, and when you're hopeful you can receive. And when you're able to receive, you're able to pray or meditate or just have a moment of silence to see you through. And people who are successful, I've spoken to many people who have achieved a lot. One, they tell me, I didn't achieve it in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I had moments of fear, but I didn't let the fear take control of me, because then I would not have achieved what you so much admire.
Yeah, I like the way you've answered that, Omozua. It's not the absence of fear, but
Yeah.
moving in spite of fear.
In spite of
You
fear.
want to start a new business, you will feel some fear. As
Yeah.
a matter of fact, what I tell people is if you want to do something new and you don't feel any fear, then maybe your goals are not audacious enough. That is what I say.
I love that.
If you don't feel anything, if there's no, tightness in your tummy, if you
Yeah.
feel no fear, then I'm sorry, maybe that goal is not audacious enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you just said, you move in spite of that fear.
Yeah.
It is about reframing it. And I love the way you just reframe that, scenario.
Yeah.
Reframe it. Okay, some friends may go away. I may lose some friends, but guess what? I will be making some new friends. It's
Yeah.
all about perspectives, right?
It's perspective. And you know, another thing that I'd like to bring in here, because it's something that I do teach in my work, which is the dinosaur is just a lizard.
Hmm.
Think of a lizard. You know, we've got these lizards in Nigeria. I used to run after them, and my mom would say, Jesus Christ, what is wrong with this child? But lizards. A lizard, just imagine it there on the wall. It opens its mouth. Your amygdala sees it. Your inner mind chihuahua sees it and says, oh my God, look at that dragon. But it's a perspective thing. That change that you think is going to eat you up, it
Hmm.
can also give you, probably, it might eat you up, but it might
Hmm.
also give you so much more. It might give you so much more. You might talk to somebody where you think, oh, I would like to interview that person, but that person would say no. But you go to the person and the person readily gives you his or her business card and you're shocked because, like, my goodness. And those are the moments where you try to see and you realize that your brain has this inner dialogue, going on. But you need to be the CEO by like saying, sit. You've got your basket, go and sit. You've got your water, you've got your bone. I will call you should I need you. Right now, I've got it. But I also treat my inner amygdala with compassion because it has kept me safe. But most of the times, it gets me into trouble.
Hmm.
I want to do something, and then my mind starts telling me, you don't want to do that. Lie in bed a little longer. It's so warm. Don't exercise and keep fit. No, Oma, you don't want to go to that networking event. You just want to stay and watch Netflix, or which is wonderful. I love Netflix. But there is time for everything.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, the brain will always tell you pleasure first. So your goal, the mission you want, as far as the inner amygdala is concerned, oh, that's not pleasure. Do you really want to exercise, lift weights, write a proposal and send it to a company? Change the inner dialogue. Yes, Ben Packwell.
Yeah.
Change the inner dialogue. Become aware of the inner dialogue and
Yeah.
be courageous for yourself, nakedly. Question it. Really? I shouldn't send the proposal? And then look at what is the consequence of you not sending the proposal and then make an informed choice.
Absolutely. And I love what we're seeing here. I've got a school owner saying, I'm enlightened to have a chat with a particular parent in my school who is very anxious about her son who is not doing well academically. But the boy says he wants to be a singer. There you go.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. So, what they should be doing is actually helping this young lad with what
Yes.
he really cares about.
Yes,
Absolutely.
explore how his talent can
Mm.
how can you discover what he really likes in the
Yeah.
music? There is so
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Like, like I
Amazing.
like I said before, the mindset is changing slowly. And
It
this is the
is.
beauty of what we're doing here. Here we have someone who is saying, I need to take action based on what I've heard here tonight. And that is just amazing. Thank you so much, Omozua. Now let's see. I like this one that says the brain does not like loss. You sort of touched on that. The
Yeah,
brain does not like loss.
yeah,
And it could be finance, status, safety. How can we really overcome this fear of loss? How because like you said, there's a lot we are not in control of. These
yeah.
things will happen. I mean, look at how many people may have lost their jobs during this COVID situation, and we are still in lockdown in the UK. There's a lot of anxiety about how
Exactly.
can we really, really stay on top of this? I know you have mentioned reframing and all of that, but what
Yeah.
else?
the brain has these, I mean, it says here finance, status,
Mm,
safety, and
mm,
then there's also the other one, belonging
mm,
and health. It's
mm.
got those five core losses. So
Okay.
everything we do, everything you're deciding to do, your
Mm,
brain just does a quick check. If I
okay.
do that, it's the inner amygdala again. If I do that, will I lose my finance? If
Mm,
I do that, will I lose my status?
mm,
And I think just knowing that, and I'm going to give you a concrete example very quickly. I
mm.
used to work with a lady who was an HR person. She'd worked in the company for so long and
Yeah.
she wanted more. In between, she was doing certifications. She had gotten herself a lot of advanced skills, and there was a new position. And with what she had, accomplished, she could actually apply and be the one getting that job. But here she was sitting at her desk, looking at CVs, looking for someone to take that position. And so what did she start doing? She started putting, when she saw a CV that would meet, that had all the criteria, she hid it. She hid it. So as we got talking, I said, let's breathe a moment. Let's just breathe with compassion because we're not evaluating, we're not judging, because now we know the brain will do everything to keep you safe. Now, what she wasn't aware of was that status. It felt like I don't want somebody. She was subconsciously unaware of the fact that she wanted that job, but she didn't feel courageous to apply for the job. So when she saw somebody, it felt as if that person was taking something that belonged to her. So she put the CV aside and kept on saying, I'm still looking for someone. I haven't found the accurate person. So, as we got talking, I said, and so when are you sending your CV out? She said, oh, I cannot. I said, well, this is what they are asking for. And as far as I know, you've got that and even more. And she said, oh, yeah, you think I can do it? Well, I said, well, it's not about me, but what do you think? Imagine now I was you. Well, what would you say to me? I'd say, apply for the job. I say, well, okay, apply for the job. And I said, did you see? The brain protects itself from anything that feels like it will lose something.
Hmm.
She didn't feel safe by getting someone else in. She felt subconsciously she would lose her status, obviously losing her finance, obviously losing her belonging. Look
Wow.
at what the brain made her do.
Yeah.
When I
Wow.
say the brain will make you do whatever it takes to get what you need, also what I mean is that it's not always positive. That's why this information is necessary. She said she did it 3 times where she put somebody's CD aside. And I said, but look at that. There's somebody who applied for a job and they had the courage to do something, but you've gotten in their way. We also have to be good humans. But when I say good humans, I'm not like in a preaching way, but just saying be responsible for your actions and don't let your actions just be driven by the brain. The brain should not run you. You should run the brain.
Wow.
CEO of the brain. That's what I mean.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Omozua. Absolutely. That is just so amazing. So, when organizations engage with you, what problems are they trying to solve? Because you're a consultant, this is what you do all day long. And I'm sure our audience today here have no doubt about that at all. So, when they engage you, what problems are they trying to solve as a consultant?
When I work with people, I always start with, we are going to talk about the brain. And I get the like, excuse me, we thought, is this not, am I in the right workshop? Isn't this a leadership development? Is this not, I don't know, team building thing? And I'm like, each one of us has a brain and the brain will protect its owner. And if I feel that something is danger, I am not going to trust you. And if I don't trust you, so that means I'm releasing cortisol, you're releasing cortisol. So what's the point of sitting here to do a team building meeting? I train with the brain in mind because that is where emotional agility takes place. That's where emotional intelligence takes place. That's where leadership, effective leadership takes place. Accurate self awareness and self regulation, that's where it takes place. So when I work with people, it's because they want a proven way, which is beyond the usual. You know, there are companies that they do team building every year. And then the next year, they're like, let's just try another provider because we don't know the one we did last year and the year before, no results. The brain, doing things with the brain in mind is the game changer. It is the point of departure. Neuro agility, knowing your neuro design. How are you wired and how can you optimize? The neuro agility assessment is sort of helping you to see something that helps you to act further, not just telling you you're a leader. Wonderful. I've done those kind of assessments. I was told I was a leader, but still I
Mm,
felt stuck afterwards. So
mm,
I help people to get beyond just having information. You have an idea, but you need to go from information to knowledge to experience to skill to mastery. That is what
absolutely.
growth goes for, and that is what they want. They want to get out of just knowing and
Mm,
imagining, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. How many of us have gone through I'll do it, but I'll do it becomes the next year. And then you realize, well, I didn't do it last year, so I'm going to do it again. The brain cost, we need to inform the brain. I've got this. I'm aware
mm,
that can happen, but as we all know, failure is a is a vital ingredient of success.
yeah.
Failure
Yeah.
is not the opposite of success. And when we have that in mind, that is what I help organizations to do. See the
Mm,
system of the brain, see the system of the individual, see the system of the team, see the system of the world. And step by step, we will become brain friendly where we don't need to attack each other, where we know there is space for everything. Isn't it amazing? Some people are musical. Nelson Mandela was a people person.
yeah.
Einstein was a number person. And still, these two people impact the world long after they're gone. That is what I help people do.
And I absolutely love the fact that you brought Einstein and Mandela, for example. These are people who are in totally different spaces. And it is
Absolutely.
so important that we understand that today, because one of the things I promote as an agilist is collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. But you know what? Like you said, the brain can either serve us positively or negatively. And one of the reasons why people don't collaborate properly is because they are using the brain negatively. So, for
Yeah.
example, you just talked about team building, working with leadership, but they are not getting the result. That is because they haven't really dealt with the brain power behind all of that. For example,
Exactly.
some leaders, they are so afraid of losing their status, some managers, for example,
Yeah.
and they are still in that zone of fear as
Yeah.
opposed to moving beyond and saying, you know what, in this whole new dispensation, what is
Mhm.
my new role? You know, we have this a lot in agile environments where the role of a manager has changed
Yeah.
because we now have what we call self organizing teams. So, which means the manager needs to stop micromanaging,
Yeah.
step back, and become more of a leader, a facilitator, and a coach. So often I find myself coaching managers who have not been well informed about, what their new role is into
Yeah.
this new role that they have so that they can move away from that fear.
Swiftly, yes. And brain friendly. It's a brain in fear, right? Because
Yeah,
it's not they've done something wrong. I was like,
yeah,
you've not done anything wrong, but your
yeah.
role has not been explained well. You don't understand it. And also you haven't actually sort of like made that connection that, okay, how do I adapt to this situation? So that's
Mm-hmm.
really important. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if we have more questions. Stella says you two are smashing it here. Thank you,
Thank you,
Stella.
Stella. We've got to get on a call.
And we can't wait for Stella to come on this show, honestly. And then we
Absolutely.
have Yemi saying, Stella, that's if I'm enjoying your comments. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, now back to my banners. I want to show Omozua's LinkedIn page. Please connect with her. As you can
Yes.
see, she has a lot to offer. She's always posting stuff on LinkedIn. And if you're a professional, you're not on LinkedIn, you're missing a whole lot. Trust me, you are missing a whole lot. Do we have any more questions for Mozua? Ah, that was amazing. I've learned a lot myself. That was amazing. I'm just trying to see if we have any more questions or comments. Oh, look at that. there must be a repeat of this program. Get the speaker
Well,
back as soon
okay.
as possible. Don't let that go. Don't let that go. Okay, so I've got a couple of takeaways for our audience. Let me bring up my takeaway thing there and go back to my banner. So I've got a couple of takeaways for you. Okay. Now it's a couple of powerful brain quotes. Of course, I had to do some research with Omozua coming. I also needed to show that I've done some research. So,
You know a lot, Mary.
so the first one for you is this: your brain works just like a computer.
Mm,
So make sure you are the only one programming it. I love that when
I
I
love
saw
that
that.
one too. It's amazing.
Make sure you are the only one programming it. I got
Yeah,
that from the Mind Journal. Now, the second one: fill your brain with giant dreams
yeah.
so it has no space for petty pursuits. I absolutely love this. And
Yeah.
people who know me know I don't like drama because I cannot afford to spend 0.0001% of my energy on drama. So
Absolutely.
this
I love this one
resonates.
too. It's amazing.
Oh,
Because,
this
I mean, where does drama lie? Drama is not in the sky, drama is down in the dungeon. So you need to make a choice. Really.
absolutely. Absolutely. So this resonates with me. It will be
Yeah.
interesting to see which one our audience like. Which of the quotes do you like? The first one or the second one? We have just 4 minutes left. Which
Well,
ones do you like?
I'm a
Newcoming.
number two. Yeah.
Okay, I can't see the comments anymore. Love it. Train with the brain in mind. Okay, I'm just highlighting Stella's love it. Train with the brain in mind. Makes perfect sense. Absolutely. So, which of the quotes do you prefer? The first one or the second one? Programming your brain, making sure you're the one programming it, or moving away from drama. It'll be interesting to see which one resonates with our audience the most. So let's have your comments if you don't mind. Let's see which one resonates with you the most. And on that note, we are actually coming to the end of this show. Omozua, I cannot thank you enough for
Thank
the
you for
time
having
you have been
me.
invested here with me. Um, let's see. Yemi says the fear of losing status and recognition. Yeah, that is deep, Yemi.
That's deep. It
And
will make people do everything.
absolutely. And I really can't tell you if I had a pound every time I saw this happen as an agilist, where people are just so afraid of maybe losing status, losing relevance. And there's really nothing to fear. It is just about reframing what your new role is and being, should I say, being open to change because the world is constantly changing now. And I think if we can be accepting of that, maybe we will fear less. We will be less anxious of uncertainty because it will remain an uncertain world. It
Yeah.
always was an
Yeah.
uncertain world, even before COVID came along. Now, with COVID, there's even much more complexity. And this is how I deal with it. The environment is so complex, so complex. I can't do it alone. I mean, look at this show. Imagine it just been me on this show. Look at the vibrancy we have with you on the show. Look at what collaboration means on
That's
this
it.
platform to the audience. That is the power of collaboration. If we can just accept that, you know what, I do not know it all. I don't. And in order to best serve our customers, we need to leverage collective intelligence, collective experience, collective
Yes.
knowledge. For
Yeah.
me, that is how I move forward. I
Yeah.
love it when I encounter people who know more than I do. Some people, the reverse is the case for them. They always want to be the one, the most intelligent person in the room. If I am the most intelligent person in the room, then maybe I'm in the wrong room because there must be somebody out there that knows more than I do because
Yeah.
I want to learn from people who know more. So I really don't think it should be a source of intimidation. Rather, it should be, you know what, there's so much here for me to learn. And that
Yeah.
is how
Make it
I,
your new best friend. Make change your new
yeah,
my new best friend is
yeah,
change, because change opens your eyes. What's the worst thing
absolutely,
that can happen? You get bitten, but
absolutely,
then you try again. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Joy says, when one can visualize the big picture, it will conquer every fear of the unknown. I like that. I like that. Look at the big picture, look
Yeah.
beyond, the now.
Yeah.
Well, I like to stay within the time box. I've got less than a minute left. Omozua, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you
And
so much for having me.
to everyone watching, to the audience, I cannot thank you enough because, like I always say, your time is the most precious gift you can give us. So join us again next Sunday, 6 o'clock. We're going to be talking about authentic leadership next week. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, and bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Bye